It hasn't been bad, has it, for Anthony since the move, and I suppose Marcus Rashford moved as well, of course, to assist in that win against Chelsea. Wan-Bissaka was involved in the Arsenal game as well. He was let go in the summer. Nedum, is this just a case of being able to enjoy your football a little bit?
Yeah, probably. I think the way that you sort of get scrutinised when you're away from Manchester United is obviously very different to being at those other clubs. And yes, those guys are at like big clubs respectively, but it's not the same as, say, the criticism that is sort of levelled at a United player or a United team that isn't as successful as, say, we've seen in the past, who will rightly be criticised because they should be there for a reason. But as Steve was saying, like, they look like they're enjoying their football. Wan-Bissaka is bombing up the wing for West Ham. You know, you're seeing Rashford flying at people for Villa and now upgrading to like being in the Champions League. And Anthony himself, like, I subscribe to La Liga on YouTube. They're constantly pushing Anthony. I'm like, oh, wow, okay, this is good. And you can see it. He's composed. He's looking for those final balls. He's trusted. The manager wants to see him out on the field, and obviously he's probably going to take a three game sort of hiatus now. But he wants to have an impact, and he seems like he's enjoying his football. And that's the thing for lots of players. If you're enjoying your football, you can get the best version of it. And I think that shirt at United, that red shirt playing in front of those fans at Old Trafford, it weighs heavy on a lot of people. And for those three people in the last couple of years, it must have been incredibly heavy because we never saw the best of them. But it's good to see them out there because these are good players. They might not be to the level that's needed to beat United to be successful, but they're still good players, and it's good to see them having an impact.
100% the environment you're in. And the environment at United, on and off the field, is absolutely toxic. You know, there's millions, not millions, there's lots of players who have had talent who've never quite made it to the highest levels, and that's because the mentality wasn't there. And so, if you're happy on and off the field, that translates.
Right.
It translates to what you do, particularly on the field, and you play with an open mind and everything's clear. But when you're in an environment where there's a cloud hanging over it constantly, it drags everybody down mentally. And so that affects everything you do. It affects your running, it makes everything feel harder, and it makes you think the other opposition are bigger and strong. I mean, everything, you get dragged down by a toxic environment.
Right.
And so when you get outside of that, oh my, it's incredible.
It's really interesting because I think it's something you can really talk about as a former professional, Mario, because on the outside looking in, you're like, oh, come on. You know, if you can do it here, why can't you do it there?
Yeah, because, you know, like I think, you know, Nedum and Stevie tapped into it. That shirt is a whole different ball game. And people have to understand it. I saw it like prior, like, what is it, 1 day or 2 days ago? De Ligt came out and he said that. He said, I played at top teams. And we're talking top teams, eh? Bayern München in Germany, then Juventus in Italy. You know what he said about Man United? The pressure there is different. He said that is way higher than I have experienced. And of course in Holland at Ajax, but you cannot compare it because the size. But Man United, he said, was different. And I totally agree. Playing there and being part of, like, we all been professionals, and we understand that the weight that comes on your shoulders, you have to be ready for that. And some people, why they don't make it, Stevie gave the right answer. Sometimes you're not ready to handle that pressure because you can play a great game, right? And then next week, you 10,000 the week after, you understand, you're building up your career, you have maybe 80,000 around you. Every week, 80,000 screaming at you if you're making a mistake. Can you handle that? And that comes one game, the second game, and you have to make the season make well. I always said it, Stevie, and I was talking to Stevie prior to this show. We had a conversation regarding, and we said it. Sometimes if you underestimate the power where you're going, and that's what we talked about, it was about Antonio, he underestimated his start at Man United, and that's why it didn't kick off well for him. When I look at Rashford, he has the talent. We don't have to talk about that. We knew that. We have seen that. So for him, it comes down to in his head. How do you think and what do you want? If he get that answer right, oh my God, he's got speed, power, skill, and he's got self-belief. There's not a lot of players going to tell me they're going to play against him and say, oh, it's going to be an easy game. No, Rashford is a very, very good player.